All right, let's continue. Let's continue this defending champ resurgence of videos. All right, let's go back more into the culture. We've talked about things that kind of might stoke division between men and women, and we're going to get into that subject matter. This video is being inspired by a text interaction, a brief one. We'll see where it goes. I'll probably do what I do. For those of you who know me, know what that means. For those of you who don't, it means blow it up, right? Get some dynamite sticks in text form, and it's what I do. Maybe a deep dive into that will be for another video, but what I'm referencing is a text interaction with a woman in the context of romance and dating. One of my favorite subjects. So the text interaction that's inspiring this, I met her last night, got her number. I asked her about her, a couple of things. First, this morning she asked me my age. And I know a lot of you are going to think I'm overanalyzing, nitpicking, and all that. Two things can be true at once. You might be right, but my observations might simultaneously have some merit here. So my take on the asking the age, it's like this attitude in the dating culture. I think particularly with women, I will say it's the sort of seeking of deal breakers, right? Not how can we have fun? What could we have in common? Let me see the best in you. It's what can I look, my list of perfect man, and how can I, kind of already put a little X by one of the things I'm looking for, right? Because our age difference turns out is 9 years. So I don't know, to me the question insinuates that age is important, might be an issue. Maybe I'm an old man, so I don't know what she thinks about that age difference, but I guess she was checking first to make sure that I wasn't 20 years older or something. I don't know, but let's go beyond that. And then the next part is I ask her, what's her schedule like this week? She tells me, she lists off all the things she's got going on. Now, maybe she misunderstood the question. I did previously ask her about grabbing dinner or coffee, and she agreed to coffee. Maybe not a good sign that she went for the coffee. But she tells me literally every single day this week what she's busy with. Monday, she's got this activity. Tuesday, she's got this activity. Wednesday, so, okay. And I've seen this so many times, right? It's like you agreed to, you gave me your number, you said we could get coffee, and now you're going to make it a challenge. It's going to be a challenge just to kind of make simple plans. So, yeah, I mean, I basically responded with, well, let me rephrase, when are you free for coffee? We'll see how she responds. I admit that my patience is very thin right now for dating and pretty much everything in life at this point. My patience is razor thin. So anyway, where was I going with this in the broader context of connecting this to the culture, the dating culture? I don't know that we're going to analyze every single reason now that things have become the way they've become. But the short version is we've gotten to a place where women don't particularly value men, okay? Not saying that that's all women, and not saying that applies to all men all of the time, but as a whole, right, there's been a sort of shitting on and devaluing of men for a multitude of reasons. I'm sure there's plenty of books on it and long videos, and people have said it and analyzed it better than I can. But it's happening. It's a real thing. But what I'm going to reiterate here as a kind of a reminder to myself, maybe a challenge to myself and to other men, whoever, the two of you who happen to be watching, I think men just need to take on this responsibility in a way. And I don't mean totally, I don't like the way Jordan Peterson seems to kind of like, I don't know, man, you need to be better and all this kind of shit. But I am going to sort of take a little bit of that angle, even though I think he sort of overstates the responsibility he wants to put on men. And the reason, though, I'm going to do it is because it's like with anything that you can't change other people, right? Now, we can try to make this a cultural movement, right? And in turn, that might change people. But it almost has to be from like a place of, I don't know, a spiritual quest or something, that despite the fact that this might not even lend itself to sort of the obvious results that us men want, most of us, which we would like, I think, a nice, pretty girl to call our girlfriend, right? While this might not lend to that result, there has to be sort of a higher purpose. And I'm not sure how each person's going to maybe have to decide how they frame this in a way to sort of value that over their sort of immediate needs. And essentially the challenge that I'm making is gotta somehow slow down with the porn, the simping, the casual sex, the degrading ourselves in the sense of not having standards. Because of course, when this happens, when a culture sort of as a whole degrades men, and we're still men with wants and needs for affection, connection, sex, love, all those things, that hasn't vanished. You know, that hasn't left our system. We might then become pitiful in a way, right? Because we still have those needs, despite the fact that the society has decided to kind of not see us the same way, not care about us, not to have narratives about, of course, how we're the bad guys, but also what value do we provide, or we still better be providing the money. We still need to be a man in all these alpha male ways, but if you display any of those characteristics, you'll be beaten down for it at the same time, right? It's like the ultimate gaslighting. Be an alpha male, or you will be sexually unappealing, but also do anything that smells like alpha maleness, and we will see if we can sort of kick you out of society or threaten you in some way, shame you, call you names, and so on. Anyway, so back to the point though of, sorry about that noise, by the way, but we're gonna have to power through it. We're gonna have to power through it. Are we? Maybe we'll pause. Yeah, we're gonna have to become sort of stoic or something, but basically, can you have the self-respect to, at the very get-go, no romantic interactions with someone that you don't think has some kind of special, you know? Someone that, if from the get-go, whatever the reason is, it's a woman who you would never, she has no chance to be someone that you would proudly call your girlfriend. Just don't do it. And all these things that I'm going to say, it's all easier said than done. That's why it's so difficult. That's why I almost say it has to be like this spiritual quest. Or, I mean, in general, you would want to live in a culture where sort of, the reason why things worked to some degree, I'm not saying everything was perfect in the 1950s or the 1980s or whatever, but I think probably to some degree better in this context, was whether it was from an intellectual or just however the culture reached this place, there was some idea of people should have one partner, they shouldn't fuck a million people, you need to get married and have a family at a young age, all these things that, sort of if you look at it just from a sort of it's an authoritarian, my parents and society, they put me in this box. They forced me to pass up on what would have been a thrilling, hedonistic, free life, and they forced me into this box. You know, there might be some truth to those sort of rebellious sort of feelings, the feeling that, you know, you being forced into this box by society. But there's the other side of the coin that often is dismissed as to sort of, why did this exist? Is it just sort of the powers that be are trying to oppress and control us, or was there something actually practical and useful in that way? You know, did the culture become this way for any reason? Not to say that we should work, there's plenty of aspects of culture that I disagree with. But is there anything, even a sliver of reason why we did this thing? Why we tried to encourage people to, you know, pair up, be loyal, and so on, right? Everything, you know, some things have sinister motives, and some things can sort of overlap, or it can be something that has a purpose when someone can sort of take advantage of it at the same time, right? But anyway, I don't want to get veer off track here. The point is that there are going to be many problems if we continue to get away from some sort of traditional notion of the way men and women should interact romantically. And I do think men are going to have to take up the responsibility here. You know, I think it would be helpful for women to sort of have a wake-up call to understand what's going on, and to understand why, you know, their expectations, their standards, the sort of mixture of the desire for the alpha male mixed in with what third wave feminism looks like, to see the contradictions and how that's not going to really work out the way they want it to for the most part. A better understanding of what's going on would be helpful for women too. And I've tried to warn women, both personally and just videos, you know, talking about sort of maybe only talk to men who clearly would respect you and love you. You know, I don't think that's as sexist as I know you guys might think I am out there. I don't think that's a bad message to women. Maybe only mess with guys who truly respect you and wouldn't be ashamed to introduce you to their friends and family. Just a thought, right? Just a thought. But so for men though, back to men, you know, because I'm giving us the responsibility here. I think it's just time that we really try to tough it out. And like I said, extremely difficult temptations of porn and casual sex and whatever. But men just have to have standards. They have to have standards. I think they should go back to, you know, hey, I'll be patient. I'll have standards. If I ask you about when can we go on a date, you expect a normal answer, not here's how I'm busy every day and can't fit you in, right? It's like, all right. Does that mean that you should rush to blow things up, whatever, like I do? No. You should, what you should do is yes, remain more stoic and take note. But even as I'm saying this, you know, it does occur to me why this is all so much easier said than done. Because like I said, regardless of all these things of what the ideal scenario for a man would be, and what a lot of people don't understand when I tell them about my struggles with things is, at the end of the day, yes, we're human. I know it's hard to believe us men are human. We want love. We want affection, attention, validation, right? All that stuff, you know? So it can be easy to sort of accept bad behavior from women, or it can be easy for us to sort of not care about women have a magnifying glass searching for your red flags, and us men were like, oh, you have a pulse and you're good looking, I guess I'll put up with anything. So, and yes, some women do that too. Don't get me wrong. I think they, yeah, I mean, that's sort of the counter to this, right? The counter side. whatever, the other side of the coin here. So I guess maybe to try to, if I'm going to throw a caveat now, because I'm trying to acknowledge how difficult this is, and I don't want to set myself up and others for failure. If you're going to engage in things that are less than, let's say, the dream, right? And let me say, when I say the dream, I'm not talking about the Disney movie. Let's talk about the realistic version of that, right? Which is just a partner who you find attractive, who has good qualities and treats you well. Still might, these days, that might be like a Disney movie, but something a bit more, the step down of whatever your version of the Disney movie is. If you're going to engage in sort of casual things, then do it with transparency. Hey, I'm looking for something that's going to be sexual, or I'm not, there's not enough something here to commit. We can want to agree to use each other in some way to stave off boredom and loneliness. But the games, all the games, be above it. Be honest. Be disciplined.